Hi, I'm Stunning Stella Cheeks.
And I'm the Enigma Aaron Klein.
And this is
Not Your Demographic.
We used to be a feminist wrestling podcast.
Shockingly, we'd rather talk about literally anything else now.
Hi, everybody.
Hey! We're back, sort of. Did you miss us?
I think so, because people have told us, hey, so
So what's up with this podcast?
Here's the deal, guys. Too long didn't read. We're in our 30s. Life gets in the way. If you listen to the last couple episodes of Extracts, you could tell the audio quality's weird. Our board broke.
Yep.
Lots of shit happened. We both were very depressed. Yeah, depression happened, life happened, the board broke, and if any of you have ADHD, you know, one thing happens, you're like, I'll fix it, and it takes 2 years to fix. It's still not fixed, hence why we're using our it still works, but one of our oldest mics, so
Yes.
audio quality may be a little
Degraded.
yeah, so take
Turn your
everything,
volume down, I guess.
take everything with a grain of salt, but we decided that out of our depressions. I don't know. I'll speak for
Yes.
myself.
No. I'm medicated now.
Yeah, I have a great therapist.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I
have 3.
that we really missed podcasting. Like we are still good friends. Like we talk every day. I think literally every day.
Yeah. Over multiple mediums.
Yeah. So like that hasn't changed, but you know, we just got to a place where podcasting wasn't a priority, and then we both really missed it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we're back.
You're
baby.
back. Hey.
Everything else is gonna roll out, coming back slowly. So Extracts will come back slowly. Spooky 30s will come back slowly. A TBD project maybe.
Yes, we'll see.
Will be coming back, or debuting.
Yes.
I guess. And the Not Your Demographic, I think our plan is we're gonna try and do once a month.
Yeah. That seems so much more reasonable.
Yeah. We did not look up or listen to how this podcast used to work.
Yeah, I don't remember what this format is.
So we're just on the fly of our pants right now.
Yeah.
I do believe the beginning is the fly of our pants.
The fly of our pants.
The fly on our pants.
Yeah.
We're flying by the seat of our pants.
Yes, that's what it is, but now we're flying by the fly of our pants.
Have a Wednesday.
Have a Wednesday.
That should be the new sign off.
Yes, have a Wednesday.
One of our friends meant to say Happy Wednesday once, and she said have a Wednesday, and that became our like, yeah, you have a Wednesday.
You have a Wednesday. No expectations, just have a Wednesday.
I guess. Oh, and actually, we were gonna say that this comes out on Wednesday, so that actually is perfect.
Hey, there you go.
Have a Wednesday. I do believe this podcast opens with a "How are you?"
Yes, how are you? I am doing very well. I am no longer postpartum depressed. By the way, did you know that you could have postpartum anxiety? I didn't, and now I do. Yeah, I've been good. I went to... Here, let's just be transparent. I went to a doctor and was like, whoa, I'm fucked up. What's going on? And she was like, oh, girl. And now I have 3 therapists and I'm medicated, which is really nice. And like, I had a very strong aversion to medication for a really long time because of my family history. And boy, can I tell you how much I love being medicated. Something I fought in my 20s super hard. And I'm so happy to be in my late 30s and be like, this is what normal emotions feel like. Bruh. Amazing. Yeah. So yeah, I've been very good. My kid is now 2.5 years old. He can run and say full sentences and jump. He just got glasses.
He looks so cute in his glasses.
He's so cute in his glasses. He's a full clone of me. He looks just like me.
Yeah.
He looks just like my dad. It's wild. Yeah, he's doing very well. He can read a little bit, which is fucking weird. Like, I've discovered my kid is probably going to be smarter than me in like 4 years. Also, he's a tank, so he's probably going to be like 6, 7.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He's a beast. He gets mistaken for a 4-year-old a lot, and he's only 2.5.
I actually, you sent a picture the other day, and I was like, how old is this kid?
Right?
And then I was
Yeah.
like, wait, he's not that old.
No, he's just a tank. But yeah, he's doing very well. I feel like, yeah, I'm doing really well. I went through a really hard period, just like you did, and our mental health both
I'm still
crashed.
sort of in it.
I mean, not unsimilar. Just on the up. Now we're on the
Yeah.
upswing. It feels a lot better than the forever crash of what depression normally feels like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing really well. I'm so happy to be podcasting again.
Yeah, this is fun already.
I know, right? Like, I miss this a lot. I'm really excited to restart X-Trex. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm in a really good place. I feel very stable also, which is really fucking nice. So, yeah, I'm feeling really good. How are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
I've been dealing with a bunch of medical stuff. I have had an undiagnosed autoimmune disorder for like a long time, and it's been in the background, and it's like, oh, we don't really have to figure it out, because it's like I have way more good days than I have bad days, but it's all kind of like catching up to me. So I'm like, oh, I really have to figure out what this is. So I'm currently not eating dairy, and I'm going to all these doctors. I'm also trying to get pregnant. It's going however it's going. So just like a lot of medical interventions happening. But overall, I'm fine in terms of that. I work in the wedding industry, and it's September, so bad. Wait till we get to our rant section. But yeah, overall, like, I'm definitely still dealing with a lot of stuff, but like you said, you know, kind of on the upswing, or at least in like a way where I can like talk about it, acknowledge it. I don't feel paralyzed.
That's great.
In the way that I have felt paralyzed for a while. And a lot of it is like streamlining a lot of stuff. A lot of it is setting boundaries with a lot of people.
Helpful for your mental health. Turns out super good for your mental health.
If you have a secret, I don't want to know it. I'm just putting that out there for everyone. Forever. If you have a secret, cool.
Keep
it a secret.
I only want secrets that want to still be secrets.
No, I don't want any of them. I don't want any of the pressure of knowing everything while everybody talks to me.
That's true.
So if you have a secret, you can keep it. I think since the last time we podcasted, my like soul cat passed away. So one of the cats that's on all of our marketing material, the little tuxedo cat, he passed away, and that was really hard because I've had him since I was 17. I like cry about it like every other day. But we do have 2 new kittens. I had 4 cats for 3 days. Now I only have, I guess they're not kittens anymore. They are over 1. Though one of them looks like a forever kitten. She's the tiniest cat.
Tiny.
She's so tiny. So I have Olive and Maps. If you read Gotham Academy, yes, it is named after them. And Maps is a girl. Everybody keeps thinking Maps is a boy because her name is Maps.
Weird. Maps
and Olive. Anyways, so I have babies that are not babies. I have fur babies. And I'm alive.
Yeah, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah. My shower broke for like 2 months. Bro. So now I have a gym habit.
It's great. Yeah. I mean, you look great.
Thanks.
Also.
I feel stronger and stuff. But yeah, because like I am a shower every day person. So is my husband. And so it was just like, I guess we go to the gym all the time. And then I stopped going to the gym every single day because I figured out a series of elaborate bowls. It was like a bowl bath. I felt like a milkmaid. It doesn't matter. I was clean. That's all that mattered. But I do have a gym habit now, so I'm like a gym girly who started taking pre-workouts. I haven't totally switched over to protein powders or like figuring out my protein intake or any of that shit. But I have a trainer. I lift heavy weights. I'm very strong.
We should go to the gym again soon.
Yeah.
The last time we went to the gym, you were like, no. Erin, no.
No, I can go pretty hard now.
All right. I'll let you lead it next time.
So overall, it does turn out going to the gym does like make your head feel better.
Whatever.
Trying to drink more water. Anyways, we're both trying to be more healthy.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Listen to our brains and bodies.
Yep, absolutely.
So hopefully we will continue to do. And also, I'm just going to say this because I don't think any of the people that... Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to say this. Both of us are in a place where we're not letting other people's shit affect the things that we care about.
Yes, absolutely. Can acknowledge it and let it go.
So, me and Erin are still here.
Yep. Pick your battles, win your wars.
Pick your battles, win your wars. So we did talk about the format like a month ago.
Sort of, yeah.
We did decide we do want to still talk about what we're reading. But we're not going to list off all 17 novels. A, because I read too much at once, and Erin has been in a little bit of a reading slump.
A little bit. An extraordinary reading slump.
As our NYD book club. They're like, Erin should just have to read it. She can just like...
I know. I need to just start coming to
So next time you should just go.
Yeah, I'll just come to the meeting.
Yeah, so we're just gonna talk about one or two of the things that we're reading, or that we recently read.
Yes, absolutely. We'll have like a highlight. I feel like it's a better way to do it.
So why don't you start? Because you're like really just coming out of your.
I know.
Because one of the big signs of your depression is you can't read.
Absolutely, yeah. Not like I can't physically read with my eyes.
No,
but
words
like,
become nothing.
Yeah, but like it sort of is like that. I just like I don't pick up books. I stop carrying them with me everywhere. I just like. No matter what I try to read, I just like can't get into it. I can't even listen to audiobooks or podcasts, really, because it feels like a book. Like, yeah, I've been in a super bad reading slump since September 23, so quite a while.
Yeah.
And then like a month ago, I feel better because I'm medicated now, and I like have a lot better strategies to deal with boundaries and shit. Like, made a lot of changes to my personal life in many ways. Good and bad in lots of ways, but like in a controllable place right now. And so yeah, the last time I went through a reading slump, I started reading again by reading a lot of poetry, and I tried that and it did not work this time. And so I started reading a lot of graphic novels again, and like that has been so helpful to just like
and I'm just like a library for you.
I know, exactly. Like, dude, my highlight of graphic novels that really helped me get back into reading is Lore Olympus. Like, Stella has every copy that's been published. The next one comes out in October, which is very soon.
I know, you texted me, do you have this one? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I checked later. I was like, oh, it's on pre-order. Okay. So as soon as she's done with that, I'm going to read the 7th version of, or the 7th installment of that. But it was just so, honestly, part of it is that I was like, the content of this is not appropriate for what I want to be reading right now. And then I just kind of pushed past it and was like, this is great. I feel
it's funny.
It also
it's easy art, like pretty art, but easy.
Absolutely. And it also deals with like kind of the things that I've been going through about like your personal life and how that's impacted by your outside life, and then emotion exploding out of you that you, I don't know, turn someone into a plant, for instance. Like, it was just so nice to be able to connect with something like that, and it really sparked me. I kept thinking of the book Little Children for like months, and finally was like, okay, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to start reading it. And then I discovered my copy is gone. And so I found out that the library I like, Sulzer, which is a regional library, and so it's fucking huge. Beautiful. It's big and beautiful. It has
across from a park.
Yeah, it has like, I think actually the best graphic novel selection of anywhere in the city, which is awesome. And I didn't know that when I started reading there and was like, these are all incredible. Everyone has access to these.
Have you ever gone to the Oak Park Library?
I have not. I really should.
Okay, so like obviously, you know, rich people get the nice things.
Yes.
But the Oak Park Library is sick.
I've been to the one in Chinatown.
Oh, that one's so pretty.
It's so
beautiful.
beautiful.
So close to my work, and I'm like, why don't I come here more?
It's so beautiful. I really like it. The one that's in the South Loop, too, which is right across from Hamburger University, McDonald's headquarters, also beautiful. It's so wide and open. It's clearly designed for the people who work right next door. It's incredible. But I went to the Salter, and I went to pick up Little Children because they had a copy that was just there, and I was like, okay, I'm going to read this. And then as I was there, I was like, but also, this stack is only 2 away. So I wound up getting a bunch of shit. I also read, this is a bad note. I'm going to just discuss this a little. Actually, no, I'll save it for my rant. I'm going to talk about that comic book, which was,
interesting.
It was terrible. So I'll save that for my rant. But,
interesting.
But yeah, I've been reading a lot more of that. I've started reading a couple more novels. I read some novellas. I read Brokeback Mountain, which I hadn't read since I was a teenager. And let me tell you, that's the wrong time to read that book. So I read it as a 36-year-old and was like, I think my guts have been ripped out through my throat reading this. But it was fucking fantastic. So, graphic novel, Lore Olympus. Novella, I guess move with caution, but read Brokeback Mountain. It's very good. And then I've been reading Little Children because I picked it up. Yeah. And I'm only halfway through it. I read it once as an early 20s person. The fucking wrong time to read that book. I started reading it. This is so silly. Because I go to the playground all the time now with my kid, and I see people
and Erin's very alt and covered in tattoos, so people give her side eyes.
Yes, exactly. I've had people move their kid away from me. Like, a tattoo is contagious.
It's so wild.
It's so stupid. But, like, it also draws a type of, not just dad, but mom, who are like, I'm also heavily tattooed, or like their kid is a cannonball, like Jean's is, or Jean just makes friends with kids now at the park. Like, it is funny to have these interactions, which are like sort of what the book is about how it's two people who are like in these suburban marriages they don't love, and they meet at a park, and like they connect with each other about the things they're lonely about. And so I've just been thinking about this book a lot, being at the park and being like, I can see some of these people, and it's been weird. And to read it as a married adult who lives in a home that I own with the kids in this book are 3 years old. So like my kid's almost that old. It is such a different reading experience that I just have loved it.
Yeah.
It's a really good reread. It was something that I connected with when I was younger, and because I felt like the fear of having children in a suburban life and a marriage. And now that I'm through that door, it's wild. It is wild to read it and be like, there are hundreds of thousands of people who are experiencing this. Mm-hmm. It's by Tom Kuroda, who wrote Election. And so it's very dark and very sardonic, and it's also very suspenseful in a lot of cool ways. So I highly recommend Little Children. It's really fucking good. It's one of the novels that is bringing me back into reading novels. So highly recommend. What are your highlights? I just talked to you for like 10 minutes.
No, that's what a podcast is.
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
It's hard because like even when I am in a reading slump, I'm still always reading. So I read all my weekly comics. I'm a little behind because of Dragon Con. So I'm reading all my weekly comics still. Still testing out the new X book. So I did like Eve L. Ewing's Exceptional X-Men. It's fun to have a book in Chicago. It's fun to have a book following my favorite comic book character of all time, Kitty Pryde. There's only one issue, but I like her writing anyways, her nonfiction, her poetry, and her comic books. So I'm excited for that. I love the Incredible Hulk book right now. Hulk should always be a horror book. And it's gross and great. I love it. I think it's so good. There's also a comic book out right now. It's an independent comic book called Knights. And it's like these young kids, they're all living in a house together. It's like one kid's in high school, and then there's like a vampire, and there's a ghost, but ghosts are skeletons, which is cool. And then like a werewolf, and it's like half like it's like a basically like family drama, but then they happen to have these powers. And the art's really good, and each issue has a playlist attached to it, which is rad.
Cool.
I really like that one a lot. I read so much that there's probably more that I really like. I did like Leah Williams' 4-issue series, the Gotham City Sirens. Gotham City Sirens in cowboy chaps beating the shit out of Punchline. Hell yeah. Like, and it's Leah Williams. Hell yeah. It's so good. Yeah, so I'm always kind of reading my weeklies. So if you are reading a comic book and you're like, oh, is anybody else reading this? I probably am. I pull way too much. It's disgusting. It's hard to keep on top of. I will be honest. And as far as like books go, I just finished 12th Night, but with a K, and it is a YA retelling of 12th Night, but with like the Viola character is really into like kind of like a pseudo World of Warcraft thing, and she's like very into like the D&D equivalent or whatever. And then Orsino is a football player who gets injured, and then they meet on this like, they like interact on this like online RPG, and it's very cute. So if you like any of that stuff. And then honestly, I'm kind of in a slump, so I've been rereading my favorite trash series, the Mystic Bayou series. So I'm almost done with the first one. So, but I think that is a good, like, your thing to get back into reading is like reading graphic novels right now. Mine is to like reread things that like I know that I like. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a huge rereader. So the fact that I'm like, I can't listen to, like, cause I'm in the middle of a different audiobook, which I really, really, really like, but I still can't even focus on it. And I'm like, if I can't focus on this thing that I know that I like, which will definitely be a future like book highlight, I just don't want to highlight it until I'm done. Mm-hmm. But it's wild, it's gross, it's wonderful. But I can't even focus on it because I'm just like, I don't know. So I'm doing some rereading right now. So always comics and then rereading.
That's part of the novellas that I read were all rereads. I started to read Catcher in the Rye and was like, my brain was like, I don't fucking think so. I've read that twice. That's one of the only books
We've had enough of this.
I've only ever reread it twice, and honestly, I feel like every time I read it, I like it more. I feel more understanding of the characters and the like despair of holding coffin.
In high school.
We read it in high school, and it was in my AP English class, and we read it, and we had to fill out this like questionnaire basically that was like, here's Holden's idea of this thing. Do you agree with it or not? And I was like, no, piece of shit. No, I fucking hate this character. Yeah. And my teacher pulled me aside everyone was leaving. She was like, Erin, come here, hold on, I want to talk to you. And I was like, okay, sure, whatever. I'm the fancy reader. You do this a lot. She pulled me aside. She gave me my paper back and was like, do you understand that you like agree with him on basically everything? And I was like, yeah, I can agree with him and still think he's a piece of shit. I don't have to like him.
And so, she was like, okay.
Yeah, that's basically what she did. And I was like, yeah, it's not that I don't think that he has smart things to say. I just think he's an idiot and he says them incorrectly. And now as I've reread it, spoiler if you've never read fucking Catcher in the Rye, but he tries to kill himself at the end, which I like didn't understand when I was 17. And the second time I read it, it was like, oh fuck, okay, I understand the despair of this, that this is written in the way it is. And then now starting it the third time, I was like, oh, it just starts with that. It's just him in the hospital and like now having gone through like being diagnosed with a mental illness and like having to go through that on the other side. Like I just have a totally new appreciation for it. But also my brain is like, fuck this thing.
Totally. Oh, you know what? If we're not just talking about things that we're reading right now, if I were to highlight the best book that I've read this year, it's called Book of Night by Holly Black. So I hate trilogies, but I'll fuck around with the duology. This is book 1 of 2. 2 comes out next year. But it is... I know a lot of people really love Holly Black. She's like a YA author. I've never really read her before, but a friend recommended this. It's her first adult book. And she just, the new world of, I feel like in this day and age, it is really hard to create a supernatural or supernatural adjacent book that has a actually interesting and compelling world of magic. And I think Holly Black does a really good job of creating a new magic system, really good, world building, and the main character is like, you know, your average acerbic female lead. And I thought it was really interesting. I don't want to give like too much away about it. But if you like magic books, if you like mysteries, if you like, it's not a romance book, but there is romance in it. And if you liked Holly Black's YA books, or if you liked Lee Bardugo's Ninth House, which I love. It's like one of my favorite books. It's not as good as Ninth House, but it has that. It was pitched to me by a friend, like, it has that vibe. And she was right. It has that vibe. So, like, highly recommend Book of Night, Part 1 by Holly Black.
Awesome.
I did read one of her YA books, and I was like, oh, she's a good writer. I don't want to read this YA book. Also, I'm going to say it out loud for everyone to hear. I think I've completely grown out of vampires.
Yes, you have. I'm not going to say you think. You absolutely fucking have. It's very funny to hear you talk about vampire people now.
I read Coldest Girl in Cold Town, which is Holly Black's vampire book, and it was well written and stuff. And I've like, you know, I appreciate the Interview with the Vampire TV show. It's really good. The memes are excellent. Me and Nick have watched it. But like, I don't have this. I mean, I have a vampire tattoo. I'm just a werewolf girly now, and I don't really care about vampires.
I feel like the only vampires I care about are the Christopher Moore ones, but that's because I have a different connection with his writing.
Yeah, I haven't read those in a really long time. And I do really, love the Interview with a Vampire, show. It's done really well. And again, the memes, top tier. But yeah, I just, when it comes to, picking up supernatural books or, other media, I don't care about vampires anymore, which is a big statement. Maybe it doesn't feel like a big statement for this audience, but it's a big statement.
No, it is a big statement. It's a big switchover. Used to be not into werewolves at all.
I'm just,
It seems more up your alley. You don't seem like someone who wants to be alive forever without some kind of physical transformation. Which I know as a vampire you do physically transform, but the idea is that you just look the same forever.
Just I don't know. There's a different level of broody. There's the emo goth broody.
Yes.
And I'm just not that.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah. Vampires are pillow prince's little bitches. And
big swings on our first episode back.
And werewolves are incredible strength monsters full of muscle. Am I surprised you've switched over? No, I am not.
My sexuality is... Does this person look like they could turn into a werewolf? That's my sexual... Femme, man, woman, non-binary. I don't give a shit. Do you look like you would be a convincing werewolf? I'm in. We used to, I would focus on thighs a lot, and thighs are part of it,
yeah.
right? Your haunches would be good. As a wolf.
This is like as close to furry as we could probably possibly
Yeah.
get.
No, it would have to be like an actual.
No, I know. It's
no,
just...
no judgment to furries. Like, live your life,
my
live
God.
your truth.
The people who pay the most for art, to be honest.
Honestly.
Like,
Cool as hell.
mad respect, not my thing. It's fine.
But yeah, so that's my sexuality. Could you be a werewolf? Sick.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. There's a porcelain quality to a vampire that I'm not into.
Yeah.
No. No, thank you.
Pass. Hot takes.
Hot takes. Fuck a vampire. No, don't fuck a vampire. Fuck a werewolf. Fuck those vampires. The best meme is the one that you sent me, though, about you've not seen, your dreadful polycule has not seen the last of me. Which is my whole vibe.
Oh, man. Okay, let's switch over into I feel like this feels like a natural rant.
Or, yeah, a rant, please?
Rant, because
Okay.
we're, like, making fun of vampires.
Okay,
or
fair
whatever.
enough.
So,
All right.
what's your rant?
My rant is that you loaned me a book, which I fucking hated.
You asked, can I borrow this?
Absolutely. I'm not saying...
I didn't say, Aaron, you should read this.
My next sentence was, you did warn me that people were divided, I think was the word that you used, about the book.
People in my book club, overall, critically, this book is highly acclaimed.
Yes, and I totally understand why. It's by Emily Carroll, which I just want to say first, who I loved her other books. That's part of why I was like, I love her art style. I think that
I mean, the art in this book, regardless if you like it or not, stunning.
Absolutely. That's part of what I found frustrating about this book.
It's like when you watch the original Suspiria. Like, if I could watch Suspiria with just the soundtrack and no words, great experience. Anyways, listen to Spooky 30. Suspiria
you have
is overrated. But, like, that book, just, like, aesthetically, beautiful. But then you read the words and you're like, what's happening?
Yes. That was part of what was so hard about it, is that, like, I knew that I liked her art style already. And so that was part of why I was like, well, even if I don't enjoy it, like, I'll be fine with this. Boy. It's called A Guest in the House, right? It's called A Guest in the House. It was the sloppiest closeted gay metaphor I've ever read in my fucking life, which is saying something.
And that ends with murder?
Yeah, I guess it ends with murder. It's so unclear. I think it does actually end in murder. And
at least one person is actually murdered.
Yes, at least one person is actually murdered. But it was so sloppy. It was so fucking sloppy. She was literally drawn like, and reminded me character-wise and creepily had very similar things to a woman I know who is older. She's very religious. It's very clear she's closeted, and she'll just live her whole days like that. And she's happy with her life generally, because she's old and has just like accepted this.
Yeah.
And so it was weird to read this character who was like, Jesus fucking Christ, this looks like a person that I know and is written in this weird way, which I think made me have more empathy for her even than I would have anticipated. But it was just ridiculous. It truly was ridiculous, where like every single thing in the book was like, okay, all right. 2 pages in, I was like, okay, here we go with the closeted metaphor. All right, fine. And then once it got to the end, it was like, really? This is how it fucking ended? I was just
The ending is inexplicable.
It makes no sense. It's so bizarre that, like, all of a sudden there's a murder. All of a sudden there's a person that shouldn't exist, basically, which is fucking weird. This woman is learning things about her life in very quick succession that, like, don't make sense, that all of this shit would come out at once. Like, there's several things that could have been cut from the book that would have made it a much better closeted story, but it was just so fucking lazy.
Yeah.
Like, and she's such a great writer that it almost felt like it went through an editor who was like, no, but you gotta throw this thing in here, or didn't cut it enough in a way that was just like, why did you make these weird fucking choices? Like, I was so disappointed. I don't know that I've been disappointed in a book like that. I can't remember, honestly, the last time I was so disappointed. I'm glad you warned me. Because if I had gone in like, hell yeah, Emily Carroll book, and gotten to the end, I might have thrown it in a fire. I was so pissed about it. I've had experiences like, Trainspotting is a series, and the second one is called Porno. I haven't read the third one, but the second one follows the most detestable character of the first book, and it is just enraging. And I knew that I liked him, and I was like, I'm gonna get to the end of Irving Welsh. I knew that I liked him, and I got to the end of the book, and literally the last sentence redeemed the entire book. I'd never had an experience like that where I got to the literal last line and was like, this book's fucking incredible. Everything I thought before, wrong. I was wrong up until this point. And this felt like the opposite experience where I was like, it's gotta get better. It must get better than this. And I got to the end and was like, no, Emily, how dare you? Like, it was just, I was so pissed about it.
It made for a great discussion at a book club.
Yeah, I wish that I had been part of that, to be like, someone explain to me the good things
You're
about
reading a lot
this.
more graphic novels. You should come to the book club.
I know, I
rules.
really should. One thing that has been nice about, having gotten out of postpartum depression is it made me and my husband really sit down and talk about, like, how are we managing our outside lives?
Yeah.
How can we make sure that each of each other are more supported so that we're not tanking in the same way or feeling burnt out at the same time? And so I think that I should start going to that.
It's
that
fun.
would be
It's
really
once a
nice.
month, and everybody that goes to is rad.
Yeah, I would really like to start doing that. I feel like that's a good thing that I can participate going forward. So that's my rant. It ended in kind of like a nice rave, but like, I cannot recommend A Guest in the House. I would recommend literally anything else that she's written.
It's really pretty though.
It is pretty. The art is beautiful. If it
The
had,
like night stuff is so pretty.
if it had just been a visual, sort of like you were talking about with Suspiria, if there had been no words at all, I may have actually liked the closeted metaphor, but like, again, the ending is inexplicable.
The ending is
The
trash.
last 30 pages, it's like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
this? All right, I have to start talking about it. What is your rant?
Mother of the Brides.
I wish everyone could see the hand motions that you're making. I will not explain that.
I'm sure this has been my rant before. It feels like an evergreen rant. First off, I'm sure I've talked about this before. I've worked in the wedding industry for a really long time in multiple different arenas, so I know it from a bunch of different angles. Pre-COVID, if you said you work in the wedding industry, people would be like, ha ha ha, bridezillas. And I would be like, actually, no, I don't actually deal with a lot of bridezillas. Most people are like really chill to be getting married and are excited. If anything, they're nervous and like anxious, but it's not usually mean. Yeah, sometimes I have to deal with a crazy mom, but like whatever. Post-COVID, y'all have lost your mind. And we're through the wave of we were planning it for years and it got postponed. Now it's just people don't know how to be
People.
people don't know how to talk to service workers. People think, and I get it, weddings are prohibitively expensive. I work in this industry and I say this as somebody who benefits from it. It's way too expensive. It's stupid. You do get charged extra shit if you say wedding, like a wedding cake versus a birthday cake. It's crazy. It's a shitty industry. I do not recommend getting married or having a wedding. I do not recommend having a wedding.
Yeah, getting married, great.
Yeah.
Actually rules in many ways.
I have, and I also had a pretty big, fun, fancy wedding that I loved and was really fun. If we were not already married, we would not be having a wedding. I'm so jaded. I'm so over it. Whatever. That doesn't mean I'm bad at my job. I'm still really good at my job. So everybody's just lost their mind. Nobody knows how to talk to people. I've had to deal with a lot of crazy brides, intense people, whatever. But pro tip, if you are somebody who identifies as a woman and your mom is still alive and you're close enough that they would be involved in wedding planning, simply don't let them be. Please.
I feel bad because I did my version of that was I gave my mom one task and I was like, it's totally up to you. You can make every decision. And it was the florals. So I feel like maybe that's not great to point in your direction either.
Yeah. If your mom is a chill person, sure. If your mom has worked in customer service and knows how to treat people, sure, I guess. The amount of apologies I've gotten from moms on the day of the wedding because they were so shitty to work with and they were aware of the fact. One of them straight up called themselves a momzilla and then laughed. The awareness of being cunty, because honestly, a lot of my brides who are cunty don't really realize it because they're fucking anxious and there's so much money involved, and I get it. Like,
everyone has a fucking opinion.
and when you spend money, you feel like anxiety about it and you're like, it needs to be perfect, whatever. I get it. I'm really not trying to be an elitist classist asshole. But there's this unique thing that moms of brides do, and some grooms, moms involved. I've had to deal with some crazy mother of the grooms too, to be honest. Like, moms, you need to give your parents some fucking pep talks and be like, you need to tone it down. Do not embarrass me on this day.
Mm-hmm.
Do not embarrass me in front of these people. Yeah, there is this like unique awareness of being difficult. And thinking that if you say out loud that you're being difficult, that it
absolves you
of being an absolute fucking Godzilla. Derogatory. As Godzilla rolls. I almost quit my job because of a voicemail I got from a mom. To be fair, this bride basically lied to my face, told me she loved everything, blah, 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 and then went outside and called her mommy and was like, and then suck her mommy on me. So, like, that is a whole other deal. But I didn't end up working that wedding because I was like, you know what? I'm going to work a different one. I'm washing my hands. I'm not the owner of this company. I don't pull rank a lot, but I'm pulling rank. I'm not working this wedding. Also, logistically, it didn't make sense for me to work it. Doesn't matter. Apparently, this mother came up to my team and was like, God, I hope that Allison girl doesn't hate me. First of all, my name is not Allison. Second of all, she does. If by some miracle you know who I'm talking, if you listen to this or your mom listens to this, no thank you. You really should have wrangled it in.
Yeah.
And this is also like, I don't actually believe in the phrase like no good deed goes unpunished. I do sort of believe of it in the wedding industry because a lot of times when we have gone above and beyond or done something extra or whatever, it is blown up in our faces because people are so entitled in this industry. And that's not everybody. I have dealt with some amazing brides, amazing couples, amazing like people. And again, I hate my industry, but I am good at my job. And I can be jaded and still respect that somebody chose me to spend their money and go do a good job in their wedding. I'm never going to tank somebody's wedding. I'm never going to do anything like that. You can ask me to make you the ugliest thing and I'll still make it. I made some crazy ugly things in the past couple weeks where we were like, whoo, okay, whatever you want, your wedding. Like, I'll do it. Like, that's my job and I'll do it well. But you don't get to talk to me. Like, if I was the owner of this company, truly, I would have been like, respectfully, here's your money back. Find a new florist in 3 weeks. And I'm not joking.
I know you're not.
So, if you are planning on getting married, treat your vendors with respect because they're human beings. Also, they're experts in their field. Mm-hmm. So maybe just like you hired them because they're good at their jobs. So maybe take your micromanaging and you know, focus it on some dumb DIY task that you've set yourself. Mm-hmm. Also, don't DIY your wedding.
No, never do that. Although, again, to be fair, at my wedding, you wound up DIYing a lot because...
Well, because your florist appendix exploded.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes you just can't plan for shit. Like, that was the wildest bullshit. Like...
Her appendix exploded, and she still delivered this
Yeah,
stuff.
she still delivered everything, and her assistants came and really tried, but it was clear that they were not, like if you got an emergency wedding, it would be very difficult to make it work. And I think that you told them they could go home after a certain point.
They probably were annoying me.
Yeah, almost certainly. Wanda, along the common enemy, bonded my friends who did not get along.
Yeah, so I don't know. My first tip is don't have a wedding. My second tip is if you must, treat your the people you hire with respect and also respect their expertise. And my third one is don't let your mom get involved at all. Mm-hmm. And if you are going to let her get involved, maybe set some hard boundaries.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yikes. Well, I'm glad you're not working that wedding.
Yikes, it's done.
Oh, good. Good for them.
My hands are washed a bit.
I'm sure that they'll have healthy communication through their whole marriage. The worst thing you can curse people with is themselves.
Allison hopes you twist your ankle and it breaks.
It breaks. Not a life-threatening industry. Maybe it is a life-threatening industry. Not a life-threatening injury.
No, I hope you break your ankle.
Really
you
inconvenient.
Horrible bitch.
I
think it's probably for the best that I don't own this company.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm very good at my job, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I treat people with respect. But the moment somebody doesn't treat me with respect, it's truly like...
You hate the olds, but you hate it because they demand respect they have not earned.
Yeah. You can't just walk into situations like... You can't just be like, you have to respect me because I'm old. And you can't be like, you have to do whatever I want because I paid you money.
Oh,
Those are fallacies.
Ridiculous.
I will treat you with respect if you treat me with respect.
Honey, you can't rent my whole body with what you just paid.
Yeah.
Like, that's not gonna happen.
And people don't understand how hard being an event florist is. Even the easy, quote-unquote, ones are hard. It is a lot of physical labor. It is a lot of logistics. It's we do so much. And people are such assholes. Also, fucking tip your florists. You're tipping your caterer. You're tipping everybody else.
You should be.
Well, yeah, you should be. Your florist is working not harder than the caterers. Your florist is working just as hard, if not harder, than every other vendor.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to do a bunch of shit. Like, whatever.
Anyways.
Rant!
The wedding industry is bananas. What's your rave? Is it that iced coffee that's going to make a bunch of clinkly sounds?
Sort of. Very weird rave. I promise it is tied in.
Okay. Baristas that were nice to you after you... Never mind.
Stella!
Shout out those baristas, though.
Shout out to those baristas. I did go back and pay them more money as an apology.
Yeah, pro tip, if you have an uncomfortable conversation in public, you go back and you pay those baristas.
You give those people money. You went through a thing you should not go through in your job normally. Here's some more money. I'm sorry.
I can cut that out if you want.
No, don't. Very funny. No, my rave is... It sounds so stupid. My rave is the color yellow. As you can probably tell by all the shit that I'm wearing that's yellow.
You're drinking out of a yellow cup.
I have a yellow cup, my yellow fanny pack's upstairs, I have a yellow visor and sweatshirt and socks on right now.
And scrunchie.
And my scrunchies, yes, I totally forgot about that. And an extra scrunchie, which is also yellow.
Also, like, you're wearing a lot of gold jewelry, which is a yellow tone.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love the color yellow. I've always really liked it. It is very difficult to find clothing in yellow, especially like a bright, sunshiny yellow like I'm wearing right now. A lot of people can't wear yellow. If you have skin that's too pink, if you have skin that's too yellow toned, if you have skin that is all kinds of different fucked up stuff, people with gorgeous black skin can wear yellow in a way that I'm like, you're beautiful. This is incredible.
This color was literally invented for
Yes,
you.
exactly. Like, you are the people who should be wearing this because you look beautiful and it's correct for your skin. I'm very lucky and I have purple skin, which is not usual. And I found that out because our incredible old lady movement teacher who was 100 years old when we had her, Roberta Otten Mason, pulled me aside.
Color tones with Roberta.
She pulled me aside once and was like, listen, because I was wearing yellow dance tights. And she was like, listen, most people cannot wear yellow and you look great in yellow dancewear and you should wear more yellow. And I was like, okay, Roberta. I was like, I think I might have been 19.
Let's paint the stage. Roberta is about 5'2".
Way shorter than that. She's got to be like 4'10", 4'11".
95 pounds.
Muscle. Totally muscle.
Pure muscle.
Straight up muscle. The littlest lady walked
Martha Graham.
Oh my God, was just an absolute beast at Martha Graham. Like, that woman, I took a couple of dance classes with her and was like, I'm dying. This is the end of my life.
I'm dead now.
But she pointed that out to me. She was like, you have purple undertones in your skin so you can wear it. And it is fucking hard to find yellow. Like, it's just not made in a lot of stuff. So I've been trying to like purposely find and source yellow clothing. And part of the reason I can do that this year, we talked about this a little. Last year was Barbie. Everything was fucking pink. There was pink everywhere. There's a million kinds of pink, which was great.
I still haven't seen Barbie.
It's very good. I feel like it was a moment. It would be.
I missed the moment, so I feel like, whatever.
Yeah, you could kind of watch it casually. It would still be a very good movie, but part of it was being in. It was like going to see Get Out at midnight, where you're just in a theater having it.
Not seen that either.
Very good. That one I think you could watch even.
I don't know if I can.
Yeah, maybe not. It's very good. It's. He does a great job directing it. That's a huge part of it. It's very clear what the vision is.
It just seems scary.
It is very scary. I don't think that you would find it scary, actually, now that you've watched several horror movies.
Well, time will only tell.
Yeah, that's true. Time will only tell. Anyway, seeing Barbie was a moment. And so part of what I liked is I love pink, and I love pink that's not pastel or like baby pink. Like, no, I'm not a pastel girly. That's wild. I love color. I am not a pastel person.
Not a pastel
I look
girly.
crazy in pastels. Anyway, that happened last year, and I told you at the beginning of the summer, I feel like the only real hole in Deadpool and Wolverine's marketing is that they did not tap into women's fashion in a way that they really should have. At least, like, thrown the color palette out earlier during design of that season. Because it's fucking hard.
The color palette is the color palette.
What do you mean?
I don't understand what you mean. Throw the color palette out.
Like,
Wolverine is that color.
Yes.
And Deadpool is that color.
right, but like with Barbie is like a flamingo Malibu pink, and there was still a lot of like, we're playing with the colors within this, and there's just nothing in Wolverine yellow. It's just not a thing
It is a specific yellow.
It's a very specific yellow, and I feel like part of what Barbie did very smartly in their marketing was tapping into the design of fashion and colors before the movie even came out. So there's this like Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine did sort of do that. Like there was the ridiculous popcorn bucket. There was a lot of like very smart advertising and marketing that went into it, but they didn't invest in the not direct marketing in a way that Barbie did. But towards the end of this summer, because this movie became very popular, there is a lot of yellow now. And so it's nice to see this like pop of sunshine, especially as we're going into like the darker fall months. I say fuck fall colors. I'll be colorful all goddamn year long because I'm
in my yellow.
I'm a rainbow clown. Like that's just who I am as a person. Like that's just who I am. But this all ties into the fact that I love this color and I love that it's starting to make an emergence. But let me tell you what I fucking loved. Deadpool and Wolverine. It was so fucking good. It was
really
so
good.
fucking good. I'm so glad I got to see it in theaters like the day after it came out.
We saw it the day it came out, and I saw it with my comic book club. To go see that movie specifically with one person who is like loves Wolverine. Wolverine is their favorite character, but then also to just go with a bunch of people who deeply know comic books.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of the like polls, especially when they're going through the multiverse and you see like the Age of Apocalypse and all that stuff, people being like, who like genuinely 100% get it too. And I think that movie does a really good job of like, if you don't know all of the comic book stuff, obviously it's so good because it's whatever. But if you do, there's so many like deep cuts where you're like, hell yeah. And so seeing it specifically with a bunch of comic book people and a bunch of X people, amazing.
Awesome. It's so like
It was rad.
I went with Devin, who's one of my best friends, who's super into comics and also the like cinematic universe of all of that as two different entities too, which is nice. It's part of why I like going to those movies with him
Because he's not like, well, it was different in the comics.
Exactly. And he's also like, you haven't been following these movies for a decade. And so it's nice to go with him and be like, oh, the expectation is nothing, basically, that I know nothing. And even within it, there was a lot that I was like, oh my God, I love this. I love these.
The way I cried at the end credits, because like
I didn't watch the end credits because I was supposed to go with Michael and he wound up going with a friend of his. And so I was like, well, I'll see them next time. And so I still haven't seen the like kicker at the end.
it's not even the kicker, it's the like video that they played.
Oh yeah, I did watch that and I also cried.
I cried and I turned to Molly, who's the person who works in the Challengers, and I was like, what the fuck? Why am I crying?
Because it's beautiful. It's so
And
lovely.
also, like, the X movies were like my favorite movies in high school. Like, I'm an X idiot. I read and watch every X everything. It's incredible. Like, whatever. Even the bad X-Men movies I still love because I love X-Men. I read the bad X-Men comics. Like, I'm stupid. I love the X-Men. Mm-hmm. So it made me have a lot of feelings.
Yeah, and it was just like, it felt so accessible. The fact that like Deadpool is a very fourth wall breaking property already made it easier to feel engaged. The shit about the proposal, I was like, you asshole. Of course, you fucking asshole. My favorite weird little deep thing that other people may have not noticed, when they were behind the cart with nice pool and after Wolverine had like walked with the dog, incredible, loved all that. I love that they were like, these hot dog carts have more medicine than a whole hospital. And then as they zoomed out, there was a pharmacy in the back of them with the windows broken that they could have just reached into. And like, I loved that. And I loved also that as they zoomed into that, as they appeared in the shoe store, I saw just at the top and then they followed it up.
Liefeld's foot thing?
Just Feet.
Oh.
That's what it was called.
It's called
Just Feet.
It was called Liefeld's Just Feet because Rob Liefeld was one of the original artists
Oh,
in the 90s,
okay.
and he notoriously draws feet weird.
Okay, I didn't know that. All right. But even shit like that where I was like,
Yeah.
this is very funny and didn't know that, like, knew it but didn't know that
Yeah.
deep cut. It was so enjoyable to watch. Honestly, it is so much fun to watch Hugh Jackman have fucking fun.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love it. He's divorced and, of ambiguous sexuality at this point.
You know.
Wink. Wink. But it was so nice to watch him have fun. I love watching all of the marketing between the two of them on the outside. The stuff that I thought they did very well was we are best friends and made a movie together. And you can fucking tell. It's so great. I love watching Hugh
Blade.
Oh my God.
I feel like it's been
Oh yeah, it's long enough. Like all
the
of the
way
cameos.
that I love those movies. And so to see him, I was like, fucking yes.
And knowing
fucking Channing Tatum.
And also knowing like he and Ryan Reynolds fucking hated each other when they worked on that Blade movie. And so to see him come in also felt like, oh, we really are in like this is a different time.
Watching all those videos of Jennifer Garner like going through and like training and stuff was cool too. It's just a fun movie.
It was really fun.
Just fun.
It felt
in a way that the MCU has not been fun for a long time.
That's why I don't watch a lot of those movies anymore.
A lot of them suck.
Yeah, a lot
I
of
don't keep up with them. I don't keep up with the movies or the TV shows because I don't care.
Yeah,
and, like,
I don't want to do 18 hours of homework.
Yeah. I mean, I've done all the homework and I still don't care. Like, people come into the comic book store and are like, oh, have you seen Blood Oil? And I'm like, no.
Nah, I haven't. I don't want to. I want to be excited about a movie.
Yeah.
Like, I told somebody this summer that the two parts of my gender and sexuality are at one side Barbie and at the other side Deadpool and Wolverine, which I feel like is pretty accurate, actually. So yeah, I loved that there was a summer movie that felt like a collective experience again, and I loved that it was well done. Like, I loved it. I think it's great. Also, I didn't know until a lot of these interviews for the press junket stuff that Hugh Jackman has been doing this character for 20 fucking years.
So many.
And is literally in the Guinness Book of World Records as longest superhero, like, as a continuous character.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's cool.
It's, like, you think about it and it's like, oh yeah, I guess he was doing this at the very first X-Men movie of our generation, and everyone else has kind of stopped. Like, it is wild to think about, and, like, my mom and sisters saw it.
No, I guess never mind. Nope.
Yep. Were you thinking of Patrick Stewart?
Yeah, I was.
That's what I also thought of. Was like,
But
it becomes James McAvoy at a certain point, and it still stays Hugh Jackman. Like, my mom and sister just saw him last year in The Music Man, and then knowing that he was like training to do Wolverine again is just wild. Like, he's the best. I love him. I love Deadpool and Wolverine. I will watch it again on a small screen. That's how much I liked it. Like, I really enjoyed it. I loved all the cameos. Channing Tatum was incredible. It was
I'm about to make a name for myself.
so good. It was so good. I loved it. It was incredible. I'm so happy I saw it. I'm glad I saw it in theaters. If you haven't seen it, I cannot recommend it enough. It was so fucking good. What's your rave?
So not as like passionate, I guess. As
passionate about Deadpool and Wolverine.
Color yellow. So I recently got back from Dragon Con, which I'm sure I've done a rave about Dragon Con before. But specifically what I would like to rave is good panel moderators. Because, yeah, you can go to a panel that is a topic you love, with people you love, and if there is a bad panel moderator, it tanks the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Because they either make it about themselves, or they're not answering interesting questions, they're not moving the time along, they're not controlling the audience questions. Having a good panel moderator truly makes the experience less cringy, because those panels can go really cringy, especially when it comes to questions. And I think people are afraid to be like mean or whatever, but like your job it's hard. Your job as a panel moderator is to have a lot of internal knowledge about the thing that you're talking about, talk to people, whether they're creators or whatever, that you might fangirl over, but you have to like keep it together. You have to ask them questions. You have to have them. You have to focus them, but also kind of seem like it's like a hard job, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you have to control the audience. And it is, I go to a lot of panels at Dragon Con, and truly good panel moderators are few and far between. There is only one there's always one panel that it just tanks and I have to like leave, or I just sit through it and I'm mad. And that's okay, because I do go to a lot of panels. So going to one that's bad, fine. There's only one egregiously bad one this year that I had to walk out of. But there was one or two that I was like, this is at the tipping. If these creators were not as interesting or, boisterous or whatever as they were, like, they are running this panel for you. But a good moderator, I saw like 2 supremely good moderators, and I was like, yeah, this could have been a boring panel actually, and you made it more interesting because you asked interesting questions and you like focused on everybody, let everybody talk, and I don't know.
It sounds kind of like the way that you describe the difference between a good and a bad DM when you're doing RPGs.
Yeah.
Like,
and a good or a bad like podcast host too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's a skill to be a focal point but not center yourself.
Right. Yeah. You have to create an atmosphere while you're aware that it's really about the people. It's like the opposite of Death of an Author, sort of, where it's like you're very aware that you have to be good, but you being good means that you're not the center of it.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people who are like, quote unquote, industry people who think either just because they really love a property or because they're like a talking head on like a barely watched fucking YouTube channel or whatever, that qualifies them to moderate a panel, whether it's a small panel or a big panel, but it doesn't. And I wish that all conventions, even ones that I like, chose their moderators with more care. So this turned into a rant rave, but good moderators on a panel at a convention, they are the unsung heroes of good panels. That's my rave.
Awesome. I agree. We went to that panel at C2E2 with your professor, and that was part of it, is that he was like just pissed enough at a lot of people that it was like, we're moving through these.
That one was also
I really enjoyed that
unique
panel.
because that was
Children
giving their college presentations at a convention. But Paul did a good job at it too.
Yeah, absolutely. He was good about moving people along. He was like, if you're not ready, you
if you're
fail.
not ready, you fail.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was very good about that. It was really funny when he noticed you too. I was like, oh, hey!
And I was like, hi, I'm here.
The best question asked at that panel was you going, how old were you when DashCon happened?
Their whole presentation was about DashCon, and I was just curious.
And one of them said 12, and the other said 11.
And then everybody in the room went, ugh.
Yeah, that's a good rave.
Now it's time for our big stack of questions, because we still have some, inexplicably.
We have a lot, actually.
Feel free, as always, as we start going, to ask any questions for our little game segment or any Peg, Marry, Kill.
Yes, man, we haven't done those in so long.
So feel free to send in either to our email, nydpods@gmail.com, or on our Discord.
Welcome to our Discord. You can get in for what? As little as $1, I believe?
I think, yeah.
Hell yeah, come join us. I will be on it now that I'm not depressed.
Erin's getting sternly talked into joining me in Discord more.
Yes, correct. Anyway. All right, pick a number. Excuse me. Pick a number between 1 and 28.
16.
16, okay. What drink best describes your personality?
Like a tea that's been steeped for too long, but is still pretty good.
Can you elaborate on what that means?
Like it's like maybe like the flavor is full-bodied, but like maybe a little bitter because it's been steeped for too long. But it's still hot and it's still good. You drink it, but like the flavor profile is just like a little too much.
Okay, all right. That's a good answer, actually. That's a really good answer. It's very self-aware, honestly.
Gut instinct. You could tone it down with like cream or whatever, or you could just let it be.
That's true.
Let it ride.
Yeah, that's true. Just let it ride. That's a good one. I think mine would be... My instinct is this, a strong black coffee in a yellow cup. That sort of seems very on brand for me. But I feel like maybe that, but I feel like a Moscow Mule is the same way. It's a very pretty cup. It's sort of deceptive in how cute it is. And then inside is a horror mixture of vodka or rum or whiskey. And then a nice little lime juice and a little bit of lime on it.
Horror mixture.
It can be a horror mixture. I've been handed a tequila one and I was like, no thank you. So yeah, I think a mix between strong ass black coffee in a colorful mug or a Moscow Mule.
The mug is the important part.
It totally is.
My oversteeped tea is in like a novelty fandom mug.
Oh yes, absolutely. I just feel like that seems sort of obvious that it's the outside is sunshine and the inside is terror.
And the inside is terror.
Absolutely.
We did it. We podcasted.
We podcasted. We did it.
Woo. So you may have noticed we no longer have Twitters.
Sure the fuck don't.
We don't have a company one. We don't have personal ones. We are not on Twitter.
Nope.
You can follow us both on Instagram individually, or you can follow us on Instagram under NYD Productions, which it's basically nothing now, but we are, getting back into the swing of things.
We're getting there.
I think Aaron and I are both on Blue Sky.
Yes, I am on Blue Sky. No, you can't have my handle on this. You can ask me. If you want to ask me in the Discord, I will give you my handle, but no, you can't have my handle. You can follow me on Instagram, though, at NYD Urgency.
Mine's all just solid cheeks. I don't give a shit. I used to be on Twitter relentlessly, and I'm on Blue Sky every once in a while.
I guess I will give this hint. If you can find me because you know what my old Twitter name was, it's very similar to that. So you can find me on there. I've just lost at least one job opportunity, so I don't give it out freely.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It was the guy that...
it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was several years ago. But the guy that interviewed me was like, "You're great. I think you'll be great in this position." And then they took it to the board, and enough old white men were like, "Her views are too radical. She can't have this job."
Wild.
Yeah, it was wild.
If you do tag us or talk to us on any social media about the podcast, we ask that you use the hashtag not your demo pod. That's still the same.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can join our Discord by subscribing to our Patreon. It's just patreon.com/NYD Productions. Really, truly, as little as $1 gets you access to our backlog. We are going to be putting new stuff up there as we get back into the swing of things, and then also gives you access to our Discord, which will become more active.
Yes, absolutely. Also,
soon.
if you like Extracts, we put tons of stuff up from Extracts. There's like outtakes. We have all of our script notes up there. Like
there's a ton of stuff to look at now.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's just not a lot of new stuff, but new stuff is coming.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think we decided we used to say mark out, fuck off.
Yeah.
But now I think it's
Have a Wednesday.
Have a Wednesday.
Have a Wednesday, everybody.
Do we have to ask Emily for permission?
I suppose.
I don't think she cares.
No, I'm sure she would be thrilled, actually.
It comes from Emily Pizzazz.
Emily Pizzazz!
And maybe that's what you have to do. Have a Wednesday and you have to do pizzazz hands.
Oh, what a great idea. Okay.
Have a Wednesday.
Have a Wednesday.
Both doing the hands.
Someday we'll have a camera. Anyway, bye.
We did it.
All right. What's our intro?
Oh, girl, I don't even know our intro. We have a recorded intro somewhere.
Yes, it's I'm Stella Cheeks and I'm the Enigma
But
Eric
it doesn't matter because it's pre-recorded somewhere.
Okay, that's fine. But
then we laugh.
Ah.
That's how it always happens. It's like a fake laugh into a real laugh. So theoretically, if I keep any of this in, that has already happened.
That's true.